Hi guys, this is a video 6-month review of owning a Lamborghini Gallardo Spyder. In summary, it's been amazing. I am very happy I bought this beautiful machine. The engine is still running. I'm here at a very beautiful place. It's in Zeeland, the Netherlands, and you can see it's at the Delta Dikes. It's been amazing, but very costly. I've had a lot of costs. I drove 10,000 kilometers and I paid also 10,000 euro in extra repair costs, all kind of things breaking down, so that's a pity, but it was definitely worth the money. If you calculate the amount of smiles and looks you get per euro or per dollar or per Bitcoin, you definitely made a good investment. But you do burn a lot of Bitcoins doing so. Yeah, I'm just gonna put the engine off and talk a little bit more in detail, but first I'm gonna show the car to you guys a little bit better. So the engine is running. It makes a lot of noise here in the front for ventilation, I think, to bring air to the engine. I hit a lot of when you hit the side, the curves, it's really not easy. Like here too, a lot. So, but I'm not gonna do like every year. I will repair those, but not every half year. So I'm going to drive till the winter and then I'll repair it. I also hit the side of a garage. As you can see here, the yellow is a little bit damaged, and I'm thinking also of doing repairing that. I'm also going to do only once per year repaint jobs because otherwise it's gonna cost me too much. I also did a great modification, and it's something with the keys. So first I'm gonna rev the engine so you can hear the engine, and then I'm gonna turn it off. So hear a great sound. I'll open the back window here. Yeah, so I'm gonna put it off. The modification I did was with the keys. If you press 2 times opening the keys, then oh no, 4 times, then you get something fun and automatic. Oh, it's just the windows that went open. 3, 4. This should voila. Voila. The windows are up now, but I want the windows down. I should push 3 times. Didn't work. let's talk a little bit more about the car experience. Find a spot here to sit. No, I'm gonna I'm gonna sit in the car, otherwise there's gonna be too much wind and you're gonna be annoyed with the wind. Let's sit here. Alright, that's gonna be a lot better. So, yeah, a lot of things broke down with the car. Suspension, one was leaking, so I had to replace that. And yeah, suspension, I don't know nothing about cars, so I can't compare with a normal car, but here a suspension new, just one, costs €2,000. Always plus, of course, VAT taxes of 21% here in Belgium. So in most parts of Europe it's very high taxes, and so you end up paying then not 2,000 but 2,400 €400 taxes. That's just for one suspension, but you need to they recommend to do 2 suspensions at the same time, but yeah, I didn't do that. And then you have to install it, get the old one out, new one in, another 1,000 €2,000. But the way I could cut on those costs was to find a second-hand suspension. It's not 2,000 but €1,000, and you avoid VAT taxes that way, because it's second-hand. And that worked out, that's good, but then a lot of other things broke down, such as the steering wheel, power steering also was leaking, so also had to find a second-hand part. I was lucky to find a second-hand part, otherwise it would be also another €2,000. Now it was also just 1,000 then for that part. And then the gearbox suddenly stopped working, so I couldn't go into first gear anymore, and so I had to tow it. And then of course you don't have that many Lamborghini garages. I tried Audi garages, but in the end I wasn't very happy with the work. They did some good work, but they are not to do everything on the car, because they don't have the Lamborghini computers, which are then only Lamborghini service centers have those. And so then there's only one in Belgium, Lamborghini garage in Brussels, and but I like to shop around, and I had a good contact via the telephone in one in the Netherlands, so have to tow the car there. It cost me €400. And then they fix the gearbox, and at the same time another error which was always popping up, which was that the banks of the engine, 1.5 and also 610, have a temperature sensor that was always freaking out, and so I had to replace those. Another bill of €4,000, so that's and also you always end up losing the car 1-2 weeks. So the problem is, I really bought this car as a daily driver, but I can tell you that that's not gonna happen. I mean, unless you have another car, you can't really use these cars yet as a daily driver, which is a disappointment, because that was really the promise of the Gallardo, which is the baby Lamborghini, the smaller version of the top models. At the time it was the Murcielago when this Gallardo was first released in 2004. And now it's the Aventador. Both cars costed about €500,000 new euro or dollars, but the Gallardo only 250, and the promise, or 200, or at the time it was only 180 actually, or 160. But these days the equivalent of the Gallardo, which is the Hurricane, will cost you around 250,000 euro and $1,000 US. It's about the same. The Huracan is the same story. Yeah, it's the promise is that you can use it as a daily driver. But I'm very curious. I think that is true for such cars when you buy them new. The first couple of years, like 2-3 years, and the first, let's say, 20 to 40,000 kilometers, you don't have many issues. But the moment I think these cars become older than 3, 4, 5 years, and the moment you go over 40, 50, 60,000 kilometers, you end up having a lot of issues. That's what I think is the case. Just like it is with normal cars, you can double the amount of kilometers or years, not the first 2-3 years, but let's say the first 4 or 5 years, and the first, not say 50,000 kilometers, but the first 100,000 kilometers, you have not a lot of issues with normal cars. But after that, you know, you get the cars on the cheap, that's true, but at the same time a lot of things start to fail and need to be replaced. That definitely has been my experience with the Gallardo. It's not really, you can't really use it as a daily driver, I think, the moment it's getting older than 3 years, or the moment you go over 40-50,000 kilometers. But I have done so, but I don't drive daily. I drive every second day. But it has been a blast. I use it to do shopping, to do everything in Antwerp, Belgium, and it's really a lot of fun. People love the car generally. 9 in 10 responses are really good. You get a lot of thumbs up, smiles, kids screaming. They love it. And that's great. Sometimes you get assholes, but it doesn't happen a lot, like maybe 5 times or so in the 10, I think it's not 10,000 kilometers I've driven. So assholes, and then what will they do? Give stupid remarks. Yesterday I had one, you know, when I'm without the top, I'm very, very visible. Of course, in this Lamborghini everybody's watching, and then you have the top off, so you're very approachable, so you can hear what people say, and people say stuff. So sometimes you have jerks saying stuff, and that happens. You know, but overall it's a really good deal, because you get a lot more positive responses, like really a lot more than negative. So yeah, it's a joy to drive. The engine sound is amazing, the acceleration is top, it looks fantastic, yeah, I'm very happy with the options I have. It's not a standard GPS system here, but it's something from Pioneer, and I have Bluetooth, and I have a very good receiver and very good sound system. So that's really nice. I enjoy driving it very, very much. I did little trips with my girlfriend to Paris, to Amsterdam, to Rotterdam, to London. Also, for the first time I was driving on the left, and in London especially I was surprised, because I thought they were used to supercars there, but driving this one convertible, so many people were watching, it was unbelievable. We were driving in the shopping street, and I was surprised. In the weekend there is not a lot of cars in London. Saturday afternoon we were driving there through the shopping streets, plenty of people in the streets visiting the shops, but almost no cars. I'm starting to think I must have been in a zone where cars are not allowed, because it was really like we were almost the only car sometimes, and like everybody's watching the whole street. So many people were driving there, like that was really surreal. Yeah, I also took a lot of friends, and also strangers, and also kids for little rounds driving in the car, and people really love it. Cops, that's the problem. Yeah, you get stopped a lot more. Yeah, cops also see that car, and I think they like to say in the evening that they stopped a Lamborghini, and that makes them feel good. But half of the time they are abusing their power and just letting you stop for well, you're always getting picked out basically. So I was stopped the first time I entered the Netherlands when I just had bought a car, and there it was just, they were checking, as they often do. They pick some cars from the highway, and then they check everything. But here, like, because I had a German plate, which is a temporary plate, so then they check everything, because you could be like a Dutch guy driving with a temporary German plate, and that way avoid taxes. So then they want to see everything, your contract, how much you paid for it, and and all that. But it's stupid, because I'm not even a Dutch citizen, I'm a Belgian citizen, so they really don't have any business, even though I'm driving in the Netherlands, about me paying Dutch taxes, because I'm a Belgian citizen with a Belgian residence. But yet many cops just like to put their nose into things that are really not their business, and this was the case here. And then of course I always remain polite, but yeah, this guy then, after all my papers checked out, he's asking me, so are you able to drive such a car? Like, I don't know what his problem was, but well, I don't know anyway. It wasn't pleasant. That was the first time I entered the Netherlands. Immediately stopped. In Belgium I got like 1-2 months, the first 2 months I wasn't stopped, and that was surprising. I like that. But then yeah, I was driving around some kids, and yeah, sadly some asshole must have called the cops because I was making too much noise. And so they came, and they want to see my papers, and well, my temporary German plate was not valid anymore, and I had already requested for months a Belgian plate, which is obligatory, but these guys that had to do all kind of things, import the vehicle, even though it's a European vehicle, I bought it European, still have to import it. It's totally against the European rules, but that's still how it works. And so I did all that, but then you have to change all kind of things to the cars, which I did too, and then my paperwork was in, but then it still takes a lot of time before you get your plate, and so I was still driving the German plate, but it was valid. It has just like the week before it wasn't valid anymore, and as a consequence the insurance attached to that plate was also not valid anymore. So I was driving without insurance. So the assholes confiscated my car, and so that wasn't fun. And so I will have a court case for that. Let's hope, fingers crossed, that it's not gonna cost me too much. So yeah, I have had all kinds of adventures with this car. Later the cops in my village stopped me again to check if I had insurance. And then I was speeding a little bit later, and then they stopped me again, some other cops, but then they let me go. They didn't give me a ticket. That was nice. Yeah, the roads really are also a problem in Belgium. I mean, the quality of the roads is like, I don't know, I've never been in Africa, but I think it must be Africa of the North, because it's really like, it's terrible. Like around where I live, it's in the city, but a lot of the roads have like kasseien, you know, it's kasseien. It's not even asphalt. It's like big old stones that they put together, and you just destroy your car on that. All cars get destroyed, but Lamborghinis, supercars, even more so. So I can't take those roads. So I have to take tours. I have to drive around everywhere just to drive on asphalt roads, and then just asphalt roads. You have traffic lights everywhere. You're waiting for nothing all the time. They didn't like think of round points yet in Belgium. Like I don't think they are informed that exist. So that they are adding red lights even as of today, and they are adding more and more. You have all kind of also speed cameras, and the roads are very unsafe. Everywhere you have everywhere you have, like, you don't have vangrails like when you would like drive off the road that your car is catched. No, what they do is they put trees, poles, like they will make sure that if you make a mistake that you really get killed instantly. They guarantee that. So all these things are, and of course traffic jams. I can't get out of my place between 4 and 6 because the whole neighborhood is just locked up. You can't, it's not even moving. So it's a real disaster. And of course, if people that don't know about that, but the consequence of this, the reason of this is of course because it's socialism and communism. The roads are not free market enterprise. It's politicians that build roads or decide how the road should look. And when a politician does something, like the inverse becomes true. Instead of like their goal is not to get as many cars through as possible. No, they shift it around. That when they build a new road, the goal is to have as little as cars that can go through, and also to have as little as parking as possible. Like that's their goal. Like they convert it around, and then you have like giant places like just total empty, should be for bicycles or pedestrians, but of course it's just empty. So it's a real problem. And it's not gonna get any better because even when they build a new road, like in Antwerp, they will now start works to many years, a lot of money to like finally do a whole circle of a highway around the city, because it's still not a circle up to today. But it will all be jammed up in peak hours. You already know that in advance, so it's not going to improve much. But it's and of course the reason is that people are because it's free. Like if it's free, people is like, it's like really communism when you have the food chain communistic system. Of course all the shops are empty because it's free, so people will take as much as they want because they don't have to pay, and so all the shops are empty. And even when the communist leaders decide to create more sausages, it won't solve the problem. And it's the same with the traffic today. It's free, but of course it's not free. You pay a lot of taxes for that, but it doesn't work at all, because people don't need to pay for what they use. So the best solution would be, of course, that they don't steal your money, because taxes, they just under the threat of violence take your money, and then they spend it on very bad investments. The way they build the roads is just stupid. And then that's what you get. Much better would be that they don't steal your money, and that you are free to spend your money on the roads that you like and the roads that you want to use. And you get competition, companies building roads, private roads, and then it would work. And as long as we don't have that, it won't work. So the Netherlands, it's really nice to drive here because the roads are much higher quality. Of course the Dutch get taxed to death for that. And of course traffic jams are also here a big problem, but the roads are built much better, much safer, and it's much more pleasant to cruise here. But I wouldn't want to live here, because if you want to buy a car here, you'll pay double or triple because of high taxes. So I think Germany is by far the best land to and of course Italy to drive cars. The taxes are low. You get unlimited speed where it is possible, and that's really nice. In Italy that's not the case, but the police just don't harass you in a supercar. They let you and drive pleasantly, and because you get punished all the time in countries like Belgium or France or Switzerland or America. It's also a big problem there. Cops stopping you all the time for stupid so-called violations, but you haven't harmed anyone. The only one harming is them harming you, taking your money or even your freedom, because they invented a rule that you can't drive higher than this on this road, which is totally bullshit. So of course, in a free market system, if private companies would own those roads, they would of course compete with each other. And of course, one of the attractive features of a road would be how fast you can go there, how quick you can go through. Yeah. So I'm afraid we're not gonna have that very soon. Such a better society, but it all starts with thinking it through and seeing the real solution, and I think that's what I'm bringing you here in this video. The real solution to our immense problems on the road is privatization, is capitalism, is not, and is just taking it back from the rulers, because every new road that is built is paid by the people that built the houses. And when you buy a new house in a new neighborhood, the road is not paid by the government. No, the road is paid by all those people that want a new road to get access to their house. So you end up paying for the house and the new road, and then basically the government confiscates the road and says it's mine now, but you paid for it, but they take ownership of it, and that's theft. The road should remain property of those that paid for it, and then you will get much better solutions, and the neighborhood will make much better choices what to do with their road than the local politicians will. So we just need to stop theft. The government should stop stealing the roads from the people and let them arrange themselves their roads, and also stop forbidding private enterprise of building roads. Because if I want to start a company and build a road, I am forbidden to do so through violence. I can't do it. That's how it is today. Just like in communism, you couldn't start a warehouse with food; it was forbidden, or your private restaurant, or a private enterprise was forbidden, and that's still the case today. In the West, the so-called capitalism of the West is not capitalism at all. Half of that society is communism. It's the same at schools, or health hospitals, or police. They are all communist institutions. They are not private enterprise that compete to offer you the best service. No, they are all government enterprises, and they suck big time. So yeah, starting with the Lambo experience and ending up here. Well, yeah. And while I'm ranting, maybe I can say something more about cryptocurrency. No, that will be for another video. About girls and Lamborghinis. Yeah, I think many guys, they think that must attract a lot of girls. It has not been my experience. Like, girls are not approaching me because when I'm sitting in my Lambo, or I don't get, sometimes I get a smile from a girl, but that's like much less than smiles from guys, or especially children. Like, it's maybe 1 in 10, or even not that, no, I would say maybe 1 in 30 or so. And so I think that this is one of the worst investments if you want to seduce girls. You're much better off just actually not. I think you're much better off watching videos of Coach Corey Wayne and approaching a lot of women in shopping malls, with confidence and good humor and honesty and charm than driving in a Lambo. You will get laid a lot more that way than driving in a Lambo or a beautiful car. That's really not gonna get you laid. And especially not, you're not gonna find true love with that. I mean, having beautiful clothes, having a nice car, having a nice condo, all these things are nice, but true love, I think, is about something else. It's about well, loving yourself for what you have, being proud of yourself, and that's not the materialistic stuff. It's much more on the health side. But of course, I think I'm bullshitting now. I don't know. I think when you're confident, a lot of things follow from that, and I don't know. For a man, I think it's not so easy in life. For me, it took a long time to get to the place where I am now. I have not been very confident in my 20s. I wasn't able to seduce girls, and I was certainly not driving a Lambo. I've struggled a lot to be able to make money with something that I really like to do. Just like I struggled a lot with finding a decent girlfriend, went through a lot of effort, trials and errors and failures, and it took me over a decade of really consciously searching and trying to hit something that was right.